Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the number one show here in the Sim World. You know it, you love it. BLAZIN Takes. I'm, of course, Rick Blaze, and I'm here with my everyday co-host, my beige brother, Siege. How are we doing today?
I'm feeling beige as ever today, Rick, and I'm ready to talk about this chaos. I mean, look, they called it a commitment craze period for a reason, and it is living up to that name. So I gotta ask, first thing we should talk about, let's talk about some of these signings. Let me get from you, and then I'll go after you, but what is the most impressive team so far in terms of the signings? The least impressive team so far? And what specific signing do you think was kind of like sneaky good? Like, not many people are looking at it as a big one, but maybe you see it for what it is.
Okay, look. So I'm glad you asked these questions. These are really good questions. Now, again, my answers are going to be based on right now. I know the rosters aren't completely filled out. I know there's some other signings that's coming on. There's probably some signings that's being announced as we're taping this live show. But right now, I have three teams. I'm gonna kind of keep it kind of quick. I don't want to hold everybody too long. But there's three teams that did a really good job, I feel, as far as signings on this early commitment craze period. One, Africa. I mentioned it. Why Africa? Because they check all the boxes they need to check. Do I have a point guard who can play point? Yes, I have Cola. Do I have a shooter? I now do. I've signed Ethan Letterman. Do I have an inside game? Yes, I re-signed DuPont. And do I have a glue guy? Yes, Amar. He does a little bit of everything. To me, that is a formula for success. They went out there. They didn't go for the fancy names. They didn't have the money for the fancy names anyway. But it just so happened the guys that's in their area were positions of need, which is shooting and such. So I think that was a phenomenal signing. Also, in addition to that, Cascadia, you got to give it up. You got to give it up to Cascadia.
Yep.
They did what we didn't know was going to be done. They went and signed the big fella, Tyree Wells. Again, how did he get past the Gulf Coast area? I have no idea. But Cascadia, kudos to them. They're looking good because not only do you have, shout out to Coach Pope, not only do you have one of the most dominant bigs in SimWorld, but you got a guy in Daniel Irvin who can put the ball in the basket too. Now you got a guy who can tear it up on the inside. You got a guy who can tear up on the outside, and I'm sure there's a lot of pauses that's going in between all of that. I'm just saying, but they look good. And last but not least, the third team, I gotta give it up to Beyond the Arch Coach Lytle. I might be saying this name wrong. I say he's going to play a perimeter type of game, and he's doing just that. What do you mean he's playing perimeter? This is what I mean. Nick Bowie, shooter. Daniel Ori, shooter. Johan Noah Djokovic, shooter. And they just signed this big 7-foot guy, 230 pounds, Paul McAdams. Guess what he's best at, Siege? Take a wild guess.
I'm gonna guess distributing, kicking out to the perimeter.
Nope, shooter. He got all shooters on his team, which means he gonna spread you thin like the cheap peanut butter on bread, and you gotta be ready to ball. So those are my three. I think are the best signings. I'll let you go with your best sign, then we'll come back around for the least.
I'm gonna go my favorite. I think the team that has gotten the most like margin of better, and I guess this is after we heard that Lattimore wasn't returning, but I got to give it up to Cascadia. I think they're going to be, yes, losing Lattimore, you can't really replace a guy like Lattimore. But if you can, they got just about as close as possible. Not only did they add Kevon Jackson, who's a certified 1B in Seattle across the street with the reigning Trays, not only did they add Daniel Irvin, who's one of the more impressive recruits, had a couple of pickup games and runs where he looked really impressive. Now they've added the pretty consensus, most dominant recruit out there in Tyree Wells.
The ultimate driving machine, TMW, yes.
A TMW, man. And so for me, they've been the most impressive team so far. Coach Pope, he had to be on top of his game once he realized that Arthur Lattimore wasn't coming back, because that's a big loss for a team that didn't make the race to one with Arthur Lattimore. But I'll tell you what, he did a fantastic job of getting these guys in there. And who's to say they're done? That's the thing. Who's to say that they're done? There could be more coming for them. So for me, that's the most impressive team so far.
All right, let's swing this thing around the other way. So now let me know. Tell me, who is the least impressive team based on what they've done or haven't done so far?
It's Showtime. It's Showtime. I said something about Showtime yesterday on the Commitment Craze Live. I get the whole moving in silence thing. H-Town did a pretty good job moving in silence. They brought in Almighty Saul. No one saw it coming, but they brought in Corey Yams. I hear rumors that there's a couple guys they might still be grabbing, but all I'll say is, that's fine. But for me, Showtime, I don't buy the idea that they're completely moving this silently, because H-Town was moving in silence, Blarty was moving in silence, but we still heard some murmurs here and there. Some people heard some stuff. Nobody's heard anything about what's going on in Showtime. They just lost Corey Yams, and we haven't heard anything. We're talking LA. We're talking probably more press coverage, even for a high school prep team, than anywhere else in the world, probably in LA. And you're telling me they're able to move completely in silence and have anything big in the works? I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I like Showtime is a low-hanging fruit. They are definitely a candidate, but I win a team that's I think is in worse shape than Showtime, and that's Bad Boys Basketball. Apparently on their roster, they don't have a single player on their roster who can get more than 10 points a game on a nightly basis consistently.
Samuel Boggs is still there.
I'm going to repeat. They don't have enough on their roster. They can get more than 10 points a game consistently on a nightly basis. No one's game planning for Samuel Boggs.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
No one is saying, well, I don't know. We can't let Samuel Boggs go off.
He's arguably the best pure point in the league that we have. And he averaged 12 points a game last year. So he averaged over 10 points a game. What's to say you can't do it again?
But you know what? You know what helps that situation? You know what makes a good point guard, great point guard? He got somebody to pass it to. He ain't got nobody to pass it to, man. You can't be a pure point guard with nobody to pass it to. You average 12 points a game because you can kick the ball to Phenom, and if Phenom can get some attention, then you can get some relief. But if you got nobody that's relieving you as a pure point, you're stuck in no man's land. Bad Boys has made no signs of anything worth mentioning, and they don't have anybody on their team roster currently that can get their own shot. At least in Showtime, Juka G can get his own shot. At least in Showtime, what they have right now, Moss can get his own shot. Now, it's erratic, and you don't know if it's going to go in. He can get his own shot.
All right, look. I don't think Bad Boys is a valid choice. It's a valid choice for this topic, but put some respect on my boy Samuel Boggs' name. I'm taking him. Look, I like Juka G, no disrespect to him, but I'm taking Samuel Boggs over anyone left on the Showtime roster right now.
That's fine. That just goes to show how bad these two rosters are, because that's not. These are not really good points to bring up. All right, so you got Showtime. I got Bad Boys. They both valid dub teams right now. All right, what move do you think was a sneaky? No one's really talking about it, but you like, that was a sneaky, really good move.
I mean, the sneakiest move. Not that people aren't talking about. I'll just go ahead and say it because we're gonna have to at least mention Xavier Pope to Yacht Club. That was sneaky because it was out of nowhere. But to answer your question about one that no one's really talking about that I think is gonna be a big addition, give me Jawan Harris to Bay Area. I actually really like that. I think Jawan Harris was a little overlooked during this whole recruiting process. He had that great game. He looked really good in the Kaiju Blood Battle. And I think Coach Pope out in Bay Area saw that and said, I need him. And to me, why that's so sneaky is because they don't need a do-it-all guy. They went out and got Jamie Ramos anyways. But I think that's just because of the connection he's got with the Hyman brothers. But Jawan Harris fits perfectly for that. They needed a role player, a guy who can spot up and shoot the ball. And they got a guy who a lot of teams would love to have be their 2 or 3 at this point. And they brought him in as a role player. So for me, that's the best sneaky signing. I don't think we're grasping the magnitude of that. But Bay Area just gets deeper and deeper with that one. I really like that signing.
Jawan Harris is not a bad. I think the Quan Quarter is a bigger impact sign for Bay Area. But that's a whole different topic. I like the Quan Quarter a lot. But I think there's two players. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible that I think is a really sneaky sign. The first one is this player that last year this team almost made it to the championship. They were 1 game away from the championship last year, and they lost the number 1 guy, the number 1 scorer, the number 1 facilitator, the heart and soul of their team. and that person was DJ Wagner for the Originators. They went and signed. I don't know how they got him from Canada. They went and got Justin McGavin. He's not DJ Wagner. Let me go on record and say that right now. He is not DJ Wagner at
No,
all.
he is not.
At all. But if I talk about what he's capable of doing, he's capable of doing some of the things DJ Wagner did. Not the same way that DJ Wagner did it, but he can score, he can pass and facilitate, and he can get other players their shots, which is what DJ Wagner did for his team. Right now, Originators didn't really have no one on their roster that could do that. I think that was a sneaky good signing by
Right.
Coach Dodge to get someone who can fill some of this. Another one really quick. This one's gonna be crazy. Cairo Windsor. Yale's mentioned him a little bit in the show earlier this morning. Cairo Windsor. This is mark my words. This is going to get very interesting very quickly. And the reason why I say that is because Coach Skinny brought a lot of these players in. They brought Hugo in, brought Renzo in. He brought some guys in. Out of all those players on the team, let me ask you a question, Siege. Out of all those players on the team that on the current team for Queen City, you got Durant. What player do you think has the biggest potential or the biggest talent out of all those players on the team currently?
The best prospect, like most potential.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a pretty clear-cut answer. It's Nick Hugo.
Yeah, wrong answer. Cairo Windsor has the best potential ceiling of all of those players. Why is that important? Well, the reason why that's important is because I think some of those players came to Queen City thinking they finna get a real shot, but Cairo finna shut all that down. As the season goes on, you're gonna realize Nick. I don't mean no disrespect to nobody. The paperwork's already signed. Nick Hugo's gonna realize. Renzo Brown's gonna realize. Those other guys are gonna realize. Hey, this Cairo guy is the number. He's the main dog. We gonna just be getting in when we fit in. Yeah. So that's why that was a sneaky good because I don't think people saw that. But that can continue. That can potentially cause some issues. Of course, everybody's gonna say, "Nah, we good. We figured out." Everybody's gonna sing the "Kumbaya" song right now. But I'm telling you right now, I think Renzo went over to be the man with Queen City, or maybe share the being the man jobs with Hugo. But I bet not. I know they didn't account for Cairo Windsor. That's going to be a situation to look out for. I'm gonna tell you that now.
All right, fair enough. And we were long-winded with that one, so let's get our second topic in real quick, just because we got to touch on this, Rick.
We got to.
I'm sure you saw. We all saw.
Of course.
So,
of course.
Just to give some backstory to our listeners who maybe didn't catch the whole story, recently it was reported that Kai Killens and JJ Hoops, two brothers, they were intent on playing together. And there's supposedly some teams that had trouble getting a hold of Kai and getting him there because he said, unless you're going to offer my brother JJ a spot too, I'm not coming. So then yesterday morning, first story of commitment craze, Kai Killens to Gulf Coast. Well, we're all sitting here going, JJ Hoops to Gulf Coast, right? Today it comes out in a little recap this morning, JJ Hoops signed with the Indy Stripes. And we find out later that Kai Killens had no idea. It was not communicated. So Kai Killens was out here telling teams that were trying to get a hold of him. He was a big name for a while. Hey, not unless you're going to give JJ an offer. So he goes, he signs with Gulf Coast. He says, hey, you're going to offer JJ, right? They must have offered JJ because he signed there. And then JJ goes, doesn't tell him, and Kai has to find out from the media? What are your thoughts, Rick?
Hey, man, first of all, man, I can always count on the Indy Stripes to keep it popping. Indy has earned their stripes for me. They're going to keep some mess brewing, and I love them for that. Coach, I haven't even learned your name yet. I'm going to learn how to pronounce it.
ShiraGONE.
What is it?
ShiraGONE.
Yeah, hey, he got them brothers ShiraGONE up out of here. You know what I mean? They ShiraGONE too. The brothers are now ShiraGONE. I talked to. That's the name of the show. The brothers are ShiraGONE. We got it. All right, we got it locked in. All right,
lock that down.
That's the name of the episode. Here we go. All right, so I talked to Kai Killens. I hollered at him about the situation, and this is this is such a this move has such major ramifications because he told me some of the teams. He told me the major. He told me 3 or 4 major teams that he was looking to go into that he would have went to or maybe considered more closely had he known his brother was going to do what he was going to do. Now I told him I was going to keep the team's confidentiality because he already signed with the team. So now I'm just let me just say this: it would have completely changed the dynamic of some of these regions. There's a region there's a region in particular. There's a region in particular. And I'm just gonna say the South. The South would look a lot different had Kai known with his brother. Matter of fact, he told me don't call him his brother no more. He said we not
Ooh.
even. He severed all ties. He said told me to tell the media don't refer to him as his brother. JJ Hoops is his own man doing his own thing. He's Kai Killings doing his. He's his own young man doing his own thing. He don't want no ties. Now this is coming from the horse's mouth. Now this is not me talking. He don't want no ties to that. This is we done. Is what he said. We done. So yeah, so that's the late breaking news, man. I just know that it would have been a total. We'd be having a totally different conversation had a Kai Killings known what his brother's going to do. Now I don't know how it started, and I damn sure don't know how it's going to end. I just know moving forward, Kai Killings want to be known as an individual and not as a person who has a brother in the league.
Nope, that's for sure.
Crazy, craziness. Y'all put in the chat, put in the thread. Discuss. It's already going down. Who do you feel made the biggest impact, or who do you feel may have the least biggest impact, or what sneaker sign did you like? Oh, your 2 cents on this Kai Killings and his former brother, apparently according to him, JJ Hoops. How they doing it? It's like a Kane and Undertaker thing going on all over again, right? This is crazy. This taking up all of our time. We gotta go. We're gonna do the pick and roll. We picked the topic. Now y'all roll with them in a thread. That's what we got for tonight today. See y'all on tomorrow.